Is everybody ready for a new, amazing and happy workday? How does he feel, Melancholy?
I guess. Look, at least like the drafts can't get any worse.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. I swear it's gonna be fine. Aggression, how do you feel?
Great. I'm gonna flash in every chance I get.
And not every chance we get. Remember, controlled aggression.
Controlled aggression. Yes, Joy.
And how do you feel?
Fanfiction?
Fanfiction, go ahead.
See for yourself.
All right.
Oh no.
Okay. Great emotions. Maybe for later. Now let's focus on the game, shall we? We have an amazing day ahead of us.
Important day.
Important day. Ah, see? This is what I want to see. This is happy vibes. This is positive mindset. He's feeling great.
I mean, at least he's not inting it. Oh no, he's gonna ruin it.
Aggressive positioning. Tower dive. Tower dive. Tower dive.
We're gonna mess it up.
No, we're not. Trust the process.
Aggression always wins.
Aggression sometimes wins,
Always
and this time it did. See, a little bit on the edge, not too much.
Edge.
Oh my god, I got possessed by NA LCS Pro, so I'm gonna run it down. Just kidding, ADC is worse than NA LCS.
Want to hear more aggression? Get out of the way,
This is how we lost the EG.
Forward, always play in front of the line. Try and get them. Never wait for your support. Always go in yourself. Let's go. That's the mindset. You should have to win the games. We can't wait.
No, somebody check on Healy, please. Maybe he can help him.
Creating space.
Okay, Healy cannot help.
Creating space. This
Creating
is why we always
space.
lose.
Creating space.
Oh no.
Creating space.
Yes.
Okay, Healy cannot help, guys. Guys, let's just focus. Remember, teamwork, collaboration, aggression, not too much. Controlled aggression. Pick your fights. This is how we can win games, okay?
Okay.
Positive mindset.
Okay.
Melancholy, we're gonna be fine. Stay positive. This isn't the best.
We can still
moments
make
that you can-
playoffs.
We can still make playoffs. Do you believe? You believe, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah? Okay, so G2. We'll see about that.
Here we go. Yes. Exactly. Oh, Vetheo died.
Vetheo died.
It's okay. It's okay. Carzzy's gonna do it.
Yes.
His Ezreal's amazing. Forward positioning. Get those
we're
cues
gonna mess it
in.
up.
Yes.
It went well. Look at that.
Always trust the aggression. Always.
Always great when it comes to team fightings, and this is what is gonna help us moving forward.
Yeah.
Huh?
Look how
Huh?
happy.
Okay.
Look how happy he is.
Come on, Melancholy.
I guess maybe we can do it.
We can do it. We can do it with a pinch of joy and controlled aggression, a zest of controlled aggression. We can do it. Okay? Power of friendship. Let's go. Not too much melancholy and not too much aggression. Let's go against G2.
Yeah.
And fanfiction.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, I did not know Carzzy was that deep, but now that we have his inner workings, I think we've got one question left to ask. When is the fanfic going to be released?
What was it? I want to see the rest of it. Like, that was gripping stuff.
Odo writes good fanfic.
I know, yeah.
Secondary
I didn't know he
backup.
had a secondary career, yeah.
I'll get that. I'll look for that for game number 4 for you, for all you want to. My name's Hysterics. I'm joined by Dagda. We're going to take you through this barn burner of a matchup, our advanced matchup for today, I'll say, because this is a big one. Considering that Vitality had high prospects at the start of the season and are now in this position where they've got the hardest schedule remaining, or at least one of. G2 on the other side have started warming up. Their chance of getting first is very far diminished, but I mean, they've got a long road ahead of them as well.
I mean, it is still G2, right? And the question mark is, how strong are they going to look? Last week, they really showed up and kind of took a lot of people by surprise.
They're back.
I mean, it's
Are we
hard
there?
to say they're not, right? They did
Yeah.
look very, very strong. But I think coming into this, it's a case of is Vitality back?
Yep.
Because we've seen some great games from them against like Heretics and these kind of people, but it hasn't really been the massive step up that we're hoping to see from Vitality at the start of the split when they came in, you know, taking Douglas out, moving over towards Lyncas. We expected a huge amount, but it still feels like they're trying to get to grips with how they want to approach
We
the game.
expected so much because Lyncas was another hyped up, you know, member of KC Blue, right? Yeah. Remember watching him at EMEA Masters and thinking, okay, this guy feels maybe he's a bit checked out. We realized at the time that he'd already kind of been talking over to Vitality. They'd already been thinking about bringing him over. When he came into the LEC, we saw some really strong jungle paths along with strong laners in those first couple of days. But alas, Vitality never got past that stage. It has been few and far between where we've been able to hype up Vitality as well. And that's why this feels like such an important matchup to show us that they can tussle with the top dogs for a chance at playoffs.
Especially with Heretics picking up that win over Fnatic earlier.
Changes things.
Vitality are kind of like, oh, crap. They're still sitting at 2 and 5. They need to beat G2 or Fnatic tomorrow in the hopes that they can... sorry, it's SK tomorrow, isn't it? That they hopes that they can push themselves up. And those are not easy games to try and go for. So
Are they hard?
this is, yeah. So it really needs to kick off well for this weekend. I'm like talking to the guys over the week over on Euphoria. They're talking about just how they're trying to approach this weekend. And it's definitely been a case of, look, they are trying to focus on getting the team to work together, being on the same page, approaching team fights the same way, being able to work around the vision that they've set up. So I'm excited to see how that approach has affected them coming into this week when you are going up against G2.
And it's hard again because to note that G2 last week felt like they really made a resurgence. I think the biggest thing about G2 is like some teams took advantage in the early stage where G2 were coming off the back of MSI. We called it an MSI hangover. You know, there was no hair of the dog cure for the first two of those weeks for G2. I think the biggest thing now is if G2 are recharged, ready to go towards a season finals, a potential worlds where we expect them to be, now Vitality are versing the hardest version. Now Vitality have to really put up or shut up, because that's exactly what's going to happen if they find a loss here. G2 blue, Vitality red. Dagda, walk me through a draft like I'm your lover.
I like the way we're already getting the Ezreal ban. Definitely Carzzy's one of Carzzy's big picks, but also because you've seen like Vetheo being willing to flex in towards the Ezreal and even things like the Christ in the mid lane. So getting rid of these ADs does make a lot of sense when you're playing against Vitality. Also, the Sejuani ban, definitely a huge one, because we've already seen, you know, Yike willing to take that into jungle, BB take it into the top side. It's a good answer into things like this Garner as well. So I definitely like the approach that both sides are going with thus far.
Well, I feel like it's taking away, first of all, the Ivan, where in the LEC, we've really prioritized this as like a B1 or an early rotation on red side. The other thing is Corki's been seen. Tristana now looked at as a higher priority than it was a few weeks ago too. And on 14-12, let's not forget that I mentioned before, Corki is still being looked at as a serious threat. Dagda, what else am I missing here as a big priority? Ezreal, of course, feels really busted at the moment. Carzzy's great Ezreal.
G2 also one of the teams that is very good on the way. Fnatic being another one of those teams. So maybe that's a consideration they want to look for if you are going towards mid lane bans. But it is kind of hard to draft against a team like G2 because there is so much flexibility there. Do you go for a Poppy ban? Try and get that away from Mikyx. We've seen that a couple of times as well. But I definitely think the focus on towards the mid or the AD carries is more where we see it. Because Garner actually going to be taking away as the last one.
Yeah, good. Maybe that's the thing. All right, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Bring it up. End of draft. Who cares? It's because we got out a pick ban. Broken Blades, look, there's my name.
Yeah. I was going to say, we're leaking the lobby.
Nah, we cooked a little bit too hard. We're going to bring it back. We're still in that first pick, guys. Don't worry. Look up. All you can see is the hover of the Ziggs, who has been kind of a fill-in for a lot of these bottom lanes, but the Ashe first pick, I think that's more relatable to what we've also seen globally too.
Yeah, we've definitely seen it start to creep up, but you can obviously go back towards the double AD carry bot lanes if you want to, but I definitely prefer seeing more utility-based AD carries in the meta when you have carry junglers and carry mid laners, but there's the carry jungler on the opposite side. With the Varus, you still have that flexibility of going to Vetheo or Carzzy, and now with the Karthus, you've still got the opportunity to go for those AD mid laners as well. So I like what Vitality are at least coming out with, and Lyncas has definitely looked more comfortable on these carry junglers.
And Dr. Dagda will tell you that, you know, this is another unique for Lyncas. You know, another point that's been talked about Vitality is their draft adaptation, or at least their ability to be more flexible. That's also come in here yet again, with also a Varus paired up into the mix. Now, the Corki was mentioned before, but remember, you pointed out before that we've had an Ezreal mid already for Vetheo. Varus can actually go mid and win the matchup as an option if Vitality won.
Yeah, I do think you have to start taking press the attack, though. We're seeing a lot of the Corkis go for the fleet footwork, and I just don't think it gives you enough gun power in that mid lane to try and fight back against it. So going for the press the attack, I think, is kind of crucial to just have and navigate the early laning phase, because we've seen too many Corkis die thinking they have the 1v1 and it just hasn't worked out.
Now we just wait to see if jungle gets matched at the very least. Is it just going to be towards Lyncas? You can hear Vitality behind me. I love the crowds pumping up. This is what they need. Man, Vitality have had such a hard run of it. It's not going to get any easier for them. Fans better stay here all weekend, as for now the tree just gets locked in for Yike. So we get a strong form of engage for G2. And I do say for Yike, I mean, it could also go support. Like, Mickey is someone who could just take the support, right?
Yeah, I think it will be a jungle, though. We've seen kind of Yike tend back more towards the tank junglers like the Sejuani. Yes, we've seen a little bit of the Zinzao on that, but definitely more tank duty for himself. And when you are looking at a Corki in the mid lane, you want that AP style jungler. The big question mark for me is what do we see the top laners take? Because the Renekton going to be locked in here for Photon, and we've definitely seen Broken Blade more tending towards, hey, I can go towards a Camille, a Kennen, stepping up to be a carry when the likes of the Sejuani and the Skarner are taken away. But could end up just falling back to the Cassante style if he wants. But
oh, yeah, true.
I think with a tank jungler, and now you're going for the Ashe AD carry, I imagine, I feel like he needs to bring damage to the table if you want to try and facilitate this.
And you already talked about it before with his flexibility. Kennen's a great option into Renekton. Absolutely blasts his lane. And any Renekton main will tell you that they hate that. So let's see where Vitality go. They start with the Broken Blade Zac. That he introduced alongside with his Rek'Sai top throughout this year. He is a real innovator and something G2 rely on. We'll see where Vitality go elsewhere, but Dagda on the other side, I'm seeing no support, no mid laner as a possibility. We talked about the flex potential. Let's see where G2 aim.
Yeah, I imagine they will probably start to look towards support bans. And the biggest problem that you have is that you have the flexibility with Vitality here where you can kind of hold on to Varus and not really show where this is going. So the question is, do you start banning away supports and then Vitality kind of just get to steal away a Rel or something like that? That's really, really nice. Or do you try and set yourself up where you actually get a nice counter pick or nice answer for yourself on this next rotation? So it looks like at the moment they are going to try and get rid of the Leona. Maybe Rel is the next option, so you try and force the Nautilus Alistar matchup in that bottom lane.
You know, another one's been really popular. We've seen a lot of Braum against poke comps these days as well, because Braum is an absolute nuisance. Also, when we have strong level ones, Braum sits at the king tier. Dagda is a support player. I know you understand. That champion absolutely busted in early stages of the game. We'll find out which direction they go. Twisted Fate also taken off from Broken Blade to give a ranged matchup aspect as well with some global pressure. We just got to see if it's that other support or it's going to be something towards the likes of an AD carry / mid laner.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be, I think Rel, very, very strong at the moment, or the Nautilus. It's kind of just whichever one is more of a nuisance. Because more than likely you are going to go back towards like a Kennen or some kind of top lane, like carry top laner for Broken Blade. So their Khan is actually going to be the one. So maybe looking for things that can disrupt a Kennen as he's trying to make his way in, because it feels like, actually, no, I was trying to figure out if with the Rakan, if it was going to really interrupt something like an Alistar or something along those lines, but it doesn't really in the grand scheme of things. So I'm kind of surprised to see it, but it definitely the Rakan, one of Hilly's best champions. So maybe it's just more of a respect ban towards Hylissang.
As now we get our mid lane pick up for Vitality. This is seen as a counter. The problem is I've watched a lot of NIP Rookie recently, and he wins the lane on Corki. So, I mean, Caps is kind of that vibe for me right now, and with his laning back in action, I've got a lot of faith in him. It can bounce back and it can be okay for Corki. We'll have to see how much Vetheo can push it to the limit. But now we get our answers. What's BB going to pull up in that top lane? What rounds it out in the support? Gragas comes through. Now we've got a bit more AP damage.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be like an off-tank build. We've seen the Rod of Ages into a bit more, hey, I'm going to build a Thornmail, get a bit of stats, and then still provide a lot of that AP damage, because I think that's really what's missing at the moment. But definitely something that can help in the, what is kind of half dive with Vitality at the moment with the Renekton and the Yone, but they really want to round it out with, which is why I think the Braum is great. So like an Engage, like an Alistar or a Nautilus, and Braum, which you already were highlighting, Jake, is really, really good into any of these more Engage-oriented supports.
I just think it's so strong at the moment. I just think with our current comps, Braum is always a great answer into a lot of it. We've got a bit of scaling so far, Vitality. Sorry, I thought it was the coffee you were drinking. Like, oh, yuck. Last pick, let's go. Engage support, Dagda. It does feel like we need some hard engage to round this out.
Yeah, definitely with the dive you already have, you kind of want it to be a Nautilus, or I think in this case, Alistar is the best option, but it's going to suck in lane. Because whenever you try to engage, you just get the Unbreakable that goes up. You try to walk away, but now you got a ton of Ashe slows. So this is going to be a miserable lane for Hylissang, which is why I think he's just going to try and leave. I see him very early, level 3, level 4, just trying to roam towards Vetheo in the mid lane and try and set him up for success. Because if you can guess both Karthus and the Alistar in towards the mid, it's a good amount of damage that you can try and set up for a combo kill onto Caps, and from there look to snowball in towards side lane play. Otherwise, I think for G2, they have a ton of long range engage, great setup, great disengage. It's going to be really hard for Vitality to just play straight up fights if they don't get these early leads.
Well, if they don't, they're in real trouble. Vitality, you can see Pat looking for the support from the crowd. The bees are out. Let's hope there's a good sting to them today. Yeah, set it up. I got, you will not. Hold him to it. Why has he got it in a giant X sign? Well, if G2 go to finals, he goes ball.
Yeah.
My God. All right, guys, prep the scissors.
Undefeated.
Oh, undefeated, right. That was an important word.
Yeah.
You can hear them in the back. That's good, man. I think we need to rile up a bit because your teams at this point, when they've just lost to Giant X and KC, those were wins for Vitality. And some of those games probably felt like they should have been wins. They've struggled to get it over the line, Dagda, and I feel like this team's had to have a real look in the mirror to find out what they're becoming, what they look like to go to playoffs, and how they get past behemoths like G2 and SK.
Well, we were actually talking to Mac over the week on Euphoria, and he was very much talking about how they were ready for this weekend. So if you can bring that up, we'll be able to hear from the man himself as Vitality were setting up for this weekend.
I think we came into this mindset. I came into this week with a mindset of like going to war. Like I want to go and crush people this weekend. I don't just want to go and survive. That's not the way that I want our players to go into this weekend. I want them to go into this weekend believing that if they play their best, they're going to win. As simple as that.
That's a good mindset. I think the biggest thing for me is like, that's what Vitality were at the start of the split. They weren't just a passive team. They weren't like a bottom tier team that, you know, kind of just goes through. Vitality wanted to crush them. And you can see historically, like, for this team, this is kind of always a team that made towards playoffs. Yes, there's some bad splits, Dagda, but I feel like consistently, we've always expected them to be in that middle echelon.
Yeah, and I think it's been a bit of a mixed bag for Vitality. People kind of look at like the curse of Vitality, where they end up getting great players, great coaching staff, but they can just never quite make it work. And a lot of people coming into this split, especially, were like, look, Vitality look like they're going to be on all four.
Great roster,
they're going to look fantastic, yeah, but it just hasn't quite worked out. And now Hilly.
Okay, well, we're talking about it. He's in a bit of trouble. Winter's Bite connects along with the concussive blows. Heal burnt out from Mikyx to get the movement speed, but double summoners now from Hilly is the trade with the health bars slightly in G2's advantage. And
this is what we were talking about. Like, if you go in as Hilly, you have to make damn sure that you are getting the kill, because it's very difficult to get back out now, especially with the flash being burned. But Lyncas may try and move down here, it looks like, off of this bus. I don't know if this is the call. I think you just go and try and move back up towards your top side. You are a Karthus, like, it's early stages.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, isn't it? What can Karthus really do? The poke comes through, level 2 comes through first. A side note on Vitality's history, as this might just spot out. No, not even sure if I got the jungle pet in the end. It scans up.
So the thing that it will spot is that Lyncas is not crossing from bot to top, and it will spot that both the red and the Krugs aren't taken. So you're like, okay, Lyncas should be moving to the top side jungle, but hasn't. So more than likely he's on this bottom side, which is now why Lyncas, although he did his 3 camps and set up for a move into bottom side, isn't actually able to do so anymore, and is now going to move to the top side instead.
Smart from Hans Summer there, the power of Ashe early on. Remember, that costs no mana for some reason. Riot. Let's fix that, but helps an advantage.
But it's also, he took it level 2. Traditionally, we see it level 3 being taken, but because of the aggression that they got, you know, they're finding out Carzzy stuff.
I mean, he went the long way around. Mikyx with the sneaky pathing, puts up the unbreakable. Now, Carzzy holds on to summoners, but it just enables a great trade as the volley, the Winter's Bite. It hurts. Hilly has sustain, but I don't think he can power through this one if G2 opt for another trade.
Now, especially when Yike is down on this bottom side, so Mikyx now getting complete confirmation that there's no enemy jungler down here. So Hilly going to stick around just to try and help support his AD carry in the wave, but this bot lane has turned into a disaster for Vitality.
And it's crazy because, again, you know, Carzzy's that team player who later on was quite reliable. Last split, we're talking about it quite a lot. I think one of the best AD carries in the LEC. Stymie him, and it's a completely different story as we look towards mid. I talked about the matchup a bit before, Dagda, as I was watching Rookie earlier on. Cap's not having the same experience. Vetheo burns him out of his mana and his health bar a bit. Looks like he's going to back away. Hilly. What's the thought process here? He has no summoners.
Oh, the flash.
The flash was clean, and Hans just takes a freebie. Massive yoink for first blood. G2 on the board.
And not the start to war that you want if you're Vitality.
No.
Going in, it's a complete misstep. 1 man down already, and Hylissang just getting outplayed by Hans Sama and the slows that are coming through from the G2 bot lane.
It's easy again when you have a nice tumble. I was trying to think of a war reference. Dagger, work on that. Okay, I'll pull it back. Vetheo has to burn the flash. He's going to have to TP back to lane, but it's some advantage now given for Caps in the 1v1.
Yeah, you don't really want to be in this position already where Caps is completely destroyed. You were saying that, you know, we've seen Rookie win this matchup a couple of times.
I was just like, oh, Vetheo's doing fine. And then we snap the camera back, and he's getting pummeled by Caps on Corki. Photon trying to do the same up in this top side. But look, Yike is here, and Broken Blade, his trades are fantastic. Photon getting bopped around. Remember, this is a grasp Gragas who's got a big belly ready to be rubbed as Photon has to run for his life. Yike is coming in.
Yeah, he should be able to just throw this up lane and stop it. Yeah. Hilly, yeah, he's just going to walk into this fine.
God, it wasn't further in.
Yeah, so Photon got stopped. There's no one here to help him, and now Yike's under tower.
I'm trying to look Dagda, how close is he to dominance? He's about 3 minions away. The timing couldn't be better. They all flash commit. Yike has to flash out. In the end, he tanked up too much. Broken Blade gets a plate with it as well. Dagda, this is a G2 map masterclass.
They actually killed Photon so quickly that Yike couldn't W to reset the aggro, so he had to flash. But Lyncas is going to try and get into this bottom side and maybe look for a counterplay on the bot end, but I don't know, you're not really that healthy on the bottom side with no flash on Hilly. Trying to look for any sort of dive is going to be tough.
See Hilly and Mikyx square up for the time being. A bit of a level advantage. You can see Summer is level 5, by the way. Mikyx to level 4. Hylissang just gets there himself, but it's going to matter so much more. We're going to get 6 further as Vetheo takes a hard trade. Caps is trying to push him in, but you can see Lyncas is here to back up and get that push potential since Grub's just spawned as well. So it looks like Vitality really want to secure top side. Caps is skirting around, trying to play it tricky. He is sidestepping in his Valkyrie in the end as well. Gets him out, but Caps doesn't have TP. He's low on mana, he's low on HP. Where can he go?
I think he's just going to be, well, he is going to go for the reset with no waves there at all, but Lyncas should be able to get at least a couple of these grubs in the early stages, but I don't think you're that worried.
Flash, engage is good. Hilly tries to get the bot, but instead onto Mikyx, it won't work. He's stunned up, he's hit down. Hilly is going to die again, or at least close to. The range comes through, thankfully, from Carzzy, and G2 can't finish the kill, but Hilly's got a base again.
Yeah, and it's terrible timing, because G2 now get to trade on the map for Dragon, so Hilly was trying to see if he could make a play onto the bottom lane to disrupt this Dragon, but now you just end up with Carzzy completely on his lonesome in this bottom side. Vetheo gonna just face check to make sure that at least G2 are doing the Dragon, so they know it's not a potential dive that's been set up onto Carzzy.
But bro, this Ice Baby duo is working out wonders in the bot lane. The 2v2 strongest. Dragon still being done. Vitality want to contest this. Lyncas now has level 6 if he dies. That Requiem won't save the play though. As the Dragon's already down, they run on in. Vetheo gets the one man, but it's onto the Braum. The twisted advance down. The lockdown. The Caps surround. Lyncas goes to flash and die in a good spot, but as Caps builds his bridge over to safety, G2 already out, or at least that's for one, not for many. Summer is going to be the trade-off. Vitality get away with something, but the gold lead has now sprung to 1,500.
Yeah, you're limping home with just a tiny bit of gold for Vitality, whereas G2, they're getting airlifted and they're very, very happy about it. They're managing to get so many kills and the Dragon as well.
Bro, KC and GIANTX must be cheering. I'll tell you why after this replay, because Dagda's going to break down as Vitality come late to the party.
Yeah, I mean, you get the Ashe ult from coming through, which ends up hitting onto Lyncas. So as Vetheo goes for this engage, there's no real follow-up on damage. Hilly isn't in a position, and Carzzy can't step forward because of the position of Summer, who has the level and the item advantage. Mikyx hops into the pit to try and help Summer, but with that Karthus ult coming in, he's just that little bit too low, so can't really do much. But still, it's G2 getting away with murder in that bottom side.
What's the cast? Oh, turret shot!
No!
Photon goes dominance, but that's going to save his life. The health advantage there, great. But a good ulti from Broken Blade as he just stands there to receive the wave. Before we went to that replay, ladies and gentlemen in the audience and at home, G2 winning here affects more than just themselves, by the way, as they look to scour down the river. Vitality look for an engage. I need to look myself because the engage doesn't fulfill. Caps gets to buy space and Mikyx stands there with Unbreakable. Vetheo looking to zone off and Mikyx might just die here. Vetheo getting a kill big to get some tempo back to Vitality's side.
Well, we actually had another clip that we were thinking about running for from Euphoria this weekend, which was Pad giving us a rundown on Mikyx, if we want to run that one.
That would be nice.
Actually, we have to wait for the lower third.
We gotta look at this.
Yeah,
first.
we do have this one. Which
I mean, it's so relevant to supports, isn't it? Like, bro, the experience is there, and both these supports, like Hilly with a great engage there, Mikyx with better engages throughout the game so far. I mean, his laning phase has been astounding. We're gonna look at the mid game first. So Boss Respond does so much damage. The Fate Sealed gets him out. The range still connects from Caps. I mean, Caps is getting better at this lane, and he's getting more support as well. And speaking of supports, as we said, you know, Mikyx versus Hylissang, I love it because, again, they're historic supports in the league, and we know Mikyx has been called the best. You know, I mean, this guy represents international stage and absolutely smurfs.
Yeah, and this is where we had our clip with Pad talking about his thoughts on Mikyx and Hylissang.
Biggest space creator. Wow. Mikyx is up there.
Yeah, for sure.
This guy is he's watched Hilly play.
They took some notes out of the same book, I think.
I think
Okay, we don't finish.
Which makes sense after you just see the last play for me. Kind of great space in that bottom lane.
Now, while we're having a look at that picture-in-picture, I mean, Broken Blade got the gank. That's from Lyncas' side, but he gets out in the end without burning a summoner. Ult was burned, but there's a bit more priority for Photon up in that top side. But again, it's nice looking at these historic support matchups, especially when they feel very key to both of these teams historically too. Hylissang has been said by Pad that he's kind of the core of this comp of how Vitality want to run. We know G2, especially at internationals, Mikyx feels very essential to how G2 play that strong mid game of theirs that they've been working at all year.
Yeah, he definitely does. I think for Vitality, it's definitely trying to rally around what Hilly wants to do, but nice ult from Carzzy, forced the flash from Ansama. But it is kind of Mikyx on the opposite side who's more linking up with this team to try and set up these plays and bring out unique picks like Pop But
yeah.
For Vitality, they're kind of in a difficult spot because now the leader you want to rally around isn't having the best of times. He's behind. Now Caps is doing so much work.
Speaking of leaders, bro, Vetheo, oh my god! Under turret! My hands left, right, together. We're clapping goodnight again.
Vetheo just getting absolutely trounced by Caps in the mid lane. And now Yike is stepping up as well to make sure that Lyncas has to back off and Caps can crash this wave. Beautiful stuff from the G2 mid laner, and a guy who, at the start of this split, honestly, was taking a lot of flack. He had some individual mistakes. His TPs weren't great, but now he's stepping up massive in that mid lane, and now they want to take it to boss.
It's complete night and day as the TP finally comes through. It's a response from Vitality. Grubs are at least being done by Lyncas. Now, the difference is that they already picked up the earlier grubs. This will be a 6-grub game, but the Enchantress arrow flies through, and Mikyx X-Ult misses on the side. And Nature's Grasp also helps out. Hilly has to flash away, but he's ignited and burnt down. Vetheo's ulti doesn't save his life. He gets on out, only for the time being, as Yike follows through. Under turret, smashes down the Might of the End. Caps flashes for a massive auto. And yes, G2 are back, but in the early game, with a vengeance.
It will be Mikyx died for the sins of his team, but it is well worth it there at G2. Just picking up so much.
A little bit of the hilly in him. That's what Pat said, but a little bit of the hilly.
He's a space creator.
Yeah,
and,
oh man.
He is creating space in that gold graph. Very, very nicely, because at the moment with Dragon going to be taken, Bot Terror going to take a bashing as well. Caps getting time in the mid lane turret. Does to be careful as Hilly is on his way.
But Caps has been in a 1v2 before already this game. He Valkyrie's out. Hilly is not in range. Here comes Mikyx, locks down Lyncas, who flashes away from the phosphorus bomb damage that seems to be one-shotting at the moment. Caps also got a Trinity Force, so I think that flash was necessary.
Definitely. The Sheen proc would have done some serious damage to Lyncas' health bar, but G2 now, they get onto bot and Vetheo. You are overextended again, buddy.
Oh, he thought he could take it. I mean, Hunt Summer with a nice sidestep. But, you know, Dagda, there's been so much happening in this early game, and I love it again. You know, Vitality were known as a very bloody team coming into the season. We look at the replay. They're showing it again, trying to stand hand-to-hand, but G2's bot dives just keep happening on replay.
It's a great ult from Yike. It ends up locking up Hilly, so Hilly can't really support Vetheo as they collapse in and around the soul as it goes flying back. And then here, Yike just goes under the tower, realizing, hey, I'm going to be good. Hansama does try to heal Mikyx, but the tower ramp damage is just too much.
I love it. He just stands there. He stands there. Well, oh well.
Well, you know what?
That's
it. Just salutes as the ship goes down.
Yeah. You know, G2 said there was 2 spots on that door. And, he got the Leonardo DiCaprio's. Hilly now tries something in another lane. This time it's top lane, and Broken Blade is going to have the body slammer at least time it well, and that he does. Vitality, I'm not sure if they're on the sinking ship right now, when it's so important for them to find a win here. G2 are not giving nor hide nor hair of an advantage in this game. They are not slowing down.
I do think the one slim advantage they have is the 6 Void Grubs, because this is a composition that in theory wants to try and play through side lanes a little bit, especially with Vetheo, but I mean, Vetheo 1-3-1 at the moment, kind of getting a bit battered. He's not really been able to get too much done.
Like
but
fish and chips, yeah.
Yeah, or a sausage, you know, it's like,
good wrap.
But it's, it's going to get knocked up, but I think it's more the opportunity to try and get onto a turret is really where Vetheo's going to struggle, because Caps is so big, he's just insta-clearing waves. Broken Blade can essentially do the same, but if you can find time to leave Vetheo in a side lane, he's going to rip through these structures.
And side lane comps with global pressure with Karthus, I mean, a lot easier to execute, right? And a lot easier to create advantages where before team fights that ult comes through, and, well, how many more opportunities do you get created? I think it's a really good point, Dagda, so I won't count Vitality out yet. They're 2 and a bit K gold down, though. They're going to lose this Herald, but the 6 grubs has definitely swayed my mind before. Remember, I've been trying to say it all game, but interrupting me over and over. If G2 win this, KC and Giant X lock in playoffs. Bro, KC is the biggest story, of course. Like, you know, Giant X in the first split locking in an AC, but KC fans can rejoice. They're finally getting to make playoffs, and G2 are the ones that seal the deal for them. It's just about how high they can climb, of course, playing later on today.
It's not looking so hot for Vitality as G2. We're just maxing the mid. The big thing is gonna need creativity. This might be it though.
The Chains of Corruption, it is blocked, it's cleansed away. Ignite's not going to do the damage. Now Hilly's in the middle of no man's land, and Yike's going to make sure he goes nowhere for the time being. Lyncas all getting fired at as well. Carzzy just out of range there, and Yike just takes the kill himself. This Leandri's Maokai with 4 kills is the carry now.
Yeah, he's kind of been popping off a little bit.
Yeah.
The fact he managed to pick up the double kill on the bot side, and now this one, the Gen G logo being slammed. And this is it, right? Vitality, you try and make the Hail Mary play in mid lane. You realize, look, we need to do something to break the tempo of G2, because at the moment they're winning across the board. They try to collapse on mid. Yike is already in a great position to follow, and now you end up losing both the fight and the mid lane turret, making side lanes even more difficult to control.
I'm really disappointed in Yike though. Surely you'd have a T1 logo after MSI. You know, you would. You'd be like, bro, we almost beat them. Who cares? That's my thought process anyway. Gen G sounds too polite, doesn't it?
Well, it's like you got to aim for the top, right?
Yeah,
you gotta,
true.
yeah, you got to take the head of the
worlds. That's right. You know, and we love the narrative, the golden road, the magical journey. No one's used that, but maybe that's a new one. Grand Slam. You know, that's what Gen G's aiming for. But then, boom, here comes G2.
Yeah, that's it. We're gonna
Fnatic or SK or BDS or KC or Giants. I don't know.
He's just
what's
running
happen.
down the.
I'm just going. Who's probably going to be in playoffs? You never know. You never know who's going to make the worlds. As Photon gets the turret and tries to make himself something in the top side. Cap's caught out against the wall with nowhere to go. He accepts it. Photon getting a shutdown dagger. Daggers? Wow. Is big news.
Bringing back Munchville's name, Daggers McGee. I mean, you get the push in mid, and that's kind of the trade-off here is Yike.
Can he 1v1?
I think he's going to 1v1.
You think he can?
He has Leandri's. Okay, he's
disgusting.
too close to the tower, but he could have 1v1.
I believe it.
This is good from Vitality, though. You actually do, in this position, you need to try and find these plays to bring the game back in your favor, and at least getting the play into top side buys you a bit of space. Going to buy you a tier 2 tower thanks to those 6 void groups that we were talking about. So you actually get some gold back, whereas more than likely you were going to end up losing a bit more. Now, I think they would have preferred if G2 didn't get the mid tower and the bot outer, but again, that's kind of the struggle of playing against G2. They're able to read you very, very well.
You know that Hilly's been around for 10 years now?
Yeah, it's been a
Since
long
Unicorns of Love, January 2014. I was just having a bit of a sticky beak, and I was like, you know, I remember this guy like from ages past being on UL, but like very early roster days. January 2014, the year is 2024, if it's a bit of a shock for you. I don't know, if you've just come out of a coma.
With Jake.
Can you imagine you've come out of a coma and you see, what is this game? What is League of Legends? I'm sure I can't wait to play NASA's top.
Yeah, and you can't reach for the newspaper anymore because they don't really exist.
That's
so
right.
you gotta tune in to
Where's
your
my
LEC to figure out what the date is.
I was going to watch it on like 8-bit or maybe get a text message about the updates, you know?
Yeah.
Or talk to someone. Remember that before the internet? Talking to people. That was cool. And G2 won't have to talk to anyone. Yeah, true, actually. We could go to this cast in silence if you want, but we could tell you that the sole point, as Dragos likes to mention, the top of the screen is there. We read it out to make your life a little bit easier, because that's effort. 3K gold lead for G2.
Thanks.
No worries.
The date and numbers, he does it all.
Just wait. Next week, I'll tell you how long till Dragons. I can count as well. It took a while to learn, but yo, SKKC's coming up. That is a banger.
Vitality are quick on the map here. It looks like they're trying to see if they can collapse onto Broken Blade on this bottom side before G2 really get their waves in order. EV looks like he's going to read it though, and yeah, unfortunately cleared out most of the waves, so it doesn't look like Vitality can play off of this.
How much time are they going to give to it? As you said, looking to get the tempo advantage, but the problem is, you look at the response in the mid wave, getting pushed, top wave as well. Cap's going to get a solo turret.
That's actually sick from Photon. So he moves under the tower to protect the very, very low cannon minion, which means that you still get the minion debuff on the tower, and that's where they can take it. Even with the Hysterics, he still tanks through, so you're still trading at least, even though BB managed to take out the minion.
And as you said, it's quite quick as well, thanks to the grubs that were picked up earlier. G2 have priority in the top side of the map right now, though, and that's the trade-off, as Cap's auto damage on turrets is disgusting. They've got no grubs, guys. Absolutely zilch. Imagine if Caps had it, as he just hits on Photon for the time being. Photon hits back, Fossil's bomb doesn't connect. I'm looking at top, even though a fight's starting here in the bottom side, as Chains Corruption follows through the arrow, he's dodged away from, but here's BB! He's ready to run in, the body slam is flushed away from, the Nature's Grasp doesn't connect, but it doesn't need to, and the Requiem is not powerful enough so G2 can sit there, laugh it off, throw another barrel at Star Fox here in the top lane, and continue hitting the turret. Vetheo with the ulti. That's a miss! He runs on in, and G2 are playing with fire, but they must be firebenders or something because they're controlling it well.
Vetheo lost his soul and mind on that play. I don't think that one was ever going to work out, as G2 will now just turn over towards the Baron. 20 minutes on the clock, but G2, they're just playing around these choke points so well. Mikyx's ult, keeping the entirety of Vitality away, hitting 3 members with that. Broken Blade's TP, meaning that Vitality can't really find the flank that they were hoping for. And now G2, they just get the Baron.
Lyncas is slowed down on the way there, by the way.
The steal?
I mean,
The steal?
trying to. Carzzy blocked out. It ain't DRX. We're not at Worlds. Carzzy can't do the unthinkables. Hilly jumps on in, trying to stop something, but he's getting poked out. Caps is just going to auto him for free. He thinks about it for a second, and eventually drops him down. Caps with his 6th kill is running in. Now the massacre continues. If you have a family, it's probably time to look away. As Treebeard does it again, a shutdown given over. It's getting real messy as Vetheo's like, yeah, my turn. But in goes BB with a body slam flash, waits for the barrel roll, the flash to come through. The arrow as well is sidestepped. This Vetheo would have been dead again. Explosive cast, they just keep throwing whatever at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah, I mean, this stage is just toss everything in the kitchen sink and see what hits. But I want to, like, when you're looking at this play, it's so nice. Mikyx's able to get the choke point here, so he ends up hitting 3 members of Vitality with the ult, and they've already sent Vetheo packing, but even Broken Blade's position meant that Vetheo couldn't really threaten the backline. So Captain Hans are free to just play up on this fight and forcing Vitality to flash over the wall. It's just great decision making on where to take a fight.
7,000 gold lead with a soul in their back pocket coming up a minute 30. The Red Bull Baron power play you can see on your screen has only just begun. While Cap stills with the top side wave, it looks like the rotation will come down for G2 to meet bottom and just threaten for the Mountain Soul. I mean, it's last-ditch effort, as you said. We were hoping for side lane potential from Vitality. We're hoping for some of the scaling to come through for this Karthus. But, bro, we've got a Warmog's Leandri's Maokai with X-Tech Alteration. A lot of burst with a Corki, who's now 3 items himself. I mean, G2, this has been such a great game to remind us that G2 are indeed back right before playoffs, conveniently.
But now the question is, where do Vitality land in the grand scheme of things?
Good question.
They lose this game, they still have SK to play.
Yeah.
And with the Heretics picking up the win over Fnatic, pushing them to 3, means that now you'd see Vitality sitting at 2 and 6, kind of sitting in the same position as Rogue, 1 ahead of Madline's Koi, but that's not the position that this team wants to be in.
Not at all. Remember as well, if Arrow flies through, even if Vitality lose their game against SK tomorrow, they're not completely out. They have a 53% chance of making it through, but again, it looks really, really hard.
They're through in 53% of scenarios.
Okay, there you go. Well, 53% are getting locked out. Either way, it's not perfect. It's not under your control. I think it's the biggest thing as well, right? You said it before, Dagda. Team Heretics changed everything, and G2 have reminded us of what war can take. The toll is there. Hilly runs on in. And when you declare war against G2, just remember, they have the better numbers, the better marksmen, the better side. Everything goes in their favor when they're here on the day. The Requiem hits Hansama, but everyone else laughs at it. Vitality sent back to the fountain, back for another shot tomorrow against SK, and G2 are only looking forward to see how clearly they can go towards season finals and towards Worlds.
History is written by the victor, and it looks like Vitality's story may be ending over the course of this weekend. They needed a win desperately, but G2 will never give you one when you need it.
Nothing's free, and for G2, just like that, back on top, 6 and 2. The team is scaling towards playoffs again.
And G2 just looked absolutely fantastic again. They give up void grubs, they don't really care, they know how they want to try and play at the game. They know if they can get towers, they can start to force team fights where their composition's just stronger, and Vitality just never really felt like they got up off the ground.
Well, you can vote for your key player of the game and LEC on X, Yike, Caps, or Mikyx. And that Braum, and not just a pick, but Mikyx on Braum was a pain to deal with. But G2, welcome back to the fold. We're going to go to a short break, but when we return, 2 of Vitality's Rising Bees players will be joining the desk.
Red Bull gives you wings. There's a place where everything begins. From the first tutorial journey to challenging the worlds. A place where people connect and friends rise to become legends. There's a place where adventure awaits you.
Welcome
to the legendary lobby.
Marriott Bonvoy. Unlock exclusive member rates and legendary benefits across over 30 hotel brands worldwide. Sign up today for free and claim your Masterwork chest and key.